This is Dr. Leland Jones of Crossroads Wholeness, and today we're going to talk about the biopsychosocial spiritual model of health, wholeness, and wellness. This is one of my favorite topics, basically because I think more and more we're moving in this direction. We more and more understand the importance of stress as a cause to physical illness. We understand more psychosomatic illness. I think the general public understands that stress can cause high blood pressure, and stress can cause people to have mental illness, addictive illness. But what a lot of people don't understand is that stress and psychological illness can cause physical illness. I have a chart that shows diseases that are more psychosomatic and diseases that are less psychosomatic. The interesting thing is, most people would say, well, migraine headaches and ulcerative colitis and high blood pressure, those are very psychosomatic. In other words, if you worry a lot, if you have fear a lot, these things can cause your blood pressure to go up, and so forth. But what people don't understand is that cancer is also very psychosomatic. The day that the cancer breaks out, the day that it becomes manifest, is often related to the day the person is under a lot of stress. And stress and depression can lower your immunity. And so your immunity is our defense system. And so when our defense system is not working properly, we will be more likely to have all kinds of autoimmune diseases and diseases that can, like cancer and other physical ailments that are related to the stress. The stress would be the etiology of many conditions, and that lowers our immunity, and then we can have physical problems. There are a whole host of these. But today, I want to move past even psychosomatic into psychosomatic spiritual. Psycho means psychological, the psychological mind, soulish realm. Soma means body, somatic. But then there's a spiritual realm. And we talked about in a previous program about etiology. Now, one of the main causes of illness and one of the main causes of success, or whatever other etiology we're looking at or cause we're looking at, is the spiritual realm. And the spiritual realm, more and more in medicine anyway, and in the hospital, is looked at as an important parameter to follow. They will ask you, what is your spirituality? They will ask you, what do you believe? Does it help you? Because we know that as far as studies on longevity and who gets sick, how long you're going to live, that your spirituality is important. We know we have over 100 scientific studies that show the importance of spirituality. Just to give you a few, one study shows that people that go to church live longer than people that don't go to church. And that people they don't even talk about what type of church you go to. But people that go to church twice a week live longer than people that go to church once a week. One study even showed that people who go to church and smoke live longer than people that don't go to church and don't smoke. So now scientists are beginning to say, well, this is a really important component. What is it about spirituality or religion? And really I'm talking more about spirituality, because studies even show that people that are spiritual live longer than people that are religious. And that's a whole nother can of worms I don't want to open up right now, but that's not surprising to a lot of people, the difference between being spiritual and being religious. But I want to talk about more spirituality and health. There are a number of studies. Another study that I think for people that are in the realm of spirituality are not surprised, but people that are in the area of science may be more surprised. And this study was done at UCLA in the intensive care unit, people that have had a heart attack or other kinds of conditions, and they asked people to pray for half of a group and not the other half. No contact, no physical contact, but just intercede and pray for a group of people. The people that were prayed for from a distance, they didn't even go to the hospital, did far better, statistically significantly better than the ones that were not prayed for. So what is it about this intercessory prayer? Now, those that are, like I said, those that are spiritual understand and are not surprised and even expect by faith that your spirituality can bring health and healing and wholeness. But I think one of the areas I want to touch upon right now is the area that your spirituality is really the area where your prophetic vision is. It's the area of your essence. It's the area of our real self. We are a spirit. We have a soul, and we live in a body. So we are three parts: spirit, soul, and body. And many times you see them sort of juggled together. And the Bible, especially in Hebrews, talks about the difference between the spirit and the soul. It says the word is quick and powerful, sharper than any two-edged sword, even to the dividing asunder of the soul and the spirit, and the joints and the marrow, and is a discerner of the thought and intent of the heart. In other words, the word of God, the rhema of God, distinguishes between the soul and the spirit. And we see that in the tabernacle of Moses, the tabernacle of David, that the soul and the spirit are different. A man's soul, unfortunately, after the fall, is really where we basically live. But the spirit is our real us, our real essence, our identity. That's who we really are. Our soulish area can focus on our lower nature or our higher nature. If we focus on our higher nature, that's our spirit. If we focus on our lower nature, that's the animal nature, that's the sin nature, the reptilian brain, that part of our brain that is eat, drink, and be merry. It's very greedy, it's very selfish, it's very me-oriented, as opposed to the spiritual area, which is more compassionate and giving and loving, and seeing things from the heavenly perspective. So we have a choice. We can focus on our lower nature, we can focus on our higher nature. Whatever our focus is, that will be our locus. Whatever we focus on, that's where we're going to become. That's where we're going to live. And of course, we go back and forth many times. But we want to focus more on the spiritual part of us. If the spirit and soul agree, if the soul agrees with the spirit part of us, then we become whole. And then we have more of energy to deal with the lower nature, which is the party nature, which is the nature of destruction. Not to say parties are wrong or bad, or celebrations are bad or wrong, but that's where it wants to live. It's very childish, very immature, and very selfish. That's why you can have people that are very educated, very knowledgeable, but still very greedy, and they will be ruthless and do anything to hurt people. Even though their mind, their soulish area can be very educated and very smart, but that still can be tempted and wooed by the lower nature. The lower nature can force the mind to use all of this intellect and all this wise wisdom and education in a dastardly way to rip people off. So we need the higher nature, because that's where the superego is. We have the id, ego, and superego. The superego means above the ego. That's our conscience. That's our moral area of right and wrong. This is the area of spirituality. In the brain is the prefrontal cortex. That's the executive part of the brain. And then you have the lower part of the brain. And that's more reptilian, more animalistic. And we want the top part of us to be in charge. We want our spirit to be in charge of our body. If not, and it's the other way around, then morals are not important, and pleasure and addiction and doing everything we can to satisfy the lower nature becomes more important, and we become like animals. So, in conclusion, to be whole, we have to be in a place where the spirit has ascendancy over the soul and the body, because we are three parts: spirit, soul, and body. This is Dr. Leland Jones. I hope you enjoyed that.